Hey guys, welcome to another pop culture review. Today we will be reviewing Kylo Ren. Let's start off with a few facts. Kylo Ren is number 60 of the Pop Star Wars line. His first appearance was in Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens, which will be released December 3rd of 2015. And a fun film fact, not only is this the first live-action Star Wars to be released in 10 years, but the film takes place 31 years after Return of the Jedi, 56 years after Revenge of the Sith, and 69 years after Episode 1, Phantom Menace. So really quickly, before moving on to the review itself, I wanted to talk about this box, seeing how they decided to do a new kind of box line. If you guys look at it, you know, they have like the black with the red lines to kind of give like that new First Order kind of look, which I thought was very interesting. They also have here the Disney insignia, which they've added. If you look at the other boxes, they don't have the Disney insignia. They added that recently. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Also on the top now, we have this from the new film, Star Wars The Force Awakens, which I guess is a marketing tool. I'm not too big on this, to be honest with you. I don't know why. It just kind of bothers me because eventually this is not going to be the new film. It's going to be, you know, old. I wish they didn't have it on there, but maybe it's just me. Also, one thing that they decided to do is add this card for the new First Order, which I like. I thought that was very interesting in comparison to the older ones, which had this kind of card, which I like. It reminds me of like when they go into Lightspeed, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like impactful, but I think that this one's just a little bit better. I would like to see more of this with like the Rebels, as well as the, you know, the Imperial Guards and stuff like that. I would have liked to seen this on that line, but sadly enough, we didn't get it. So, but you know what? This is a cool little thing. It makes you feel more of like a collector, and it's something nice to have to stand behind your Funko. Whether you're an in-box collector or not, you could probably keep these if you don't keep the box, and just kind of like stitch it together to make a wallpaper or something. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now let's take a closer look. First, let's start off with the bases. One thing I would like to discuss is that Kylo Ren obviously comes with the Star Wars base. This is pretty standard. The one thing that is new with this one is that they decided to do something a little different with this line. So starting off, you could already see that there's a difference in the base. For example, this is the previous Star Wars bases we have here. This one being a little bit more just a Star Wars, boom, done. And it has kind of like just like this pyramid kind of thing going on. Whereas this one has like these ridges that seem a little bit more like steps. And the Star Wars logo is a little bit smaller, a little bit brighter as well. Well, not really brighter. Maybe it's just a light. But they also changed the pegs. As you can see, like with this one, they're kind of closer to depending on the character. Whereas this one has like a bigger one, and then there's the smaller one there. So it kind of, to be honest with you, keeps the Funko on a little bit more snugly. I know some people don't like these stands, but I feel like they work very well for the Star Wars line. And I feel like this one is a little bit more nicer. It feels more of like a collector kind of thing. Like this one just seems like a cheap kind of toy, if you ask me. Like, you know, like I know they're toys, but it just seems like, you know, I don't know, I consider it like gas station toy kind of thing, whereas this one's like, oh, you guys collect this. Like this is, I don't know, I just feel like it's an improvement. So let's take a look at his head, starting with the fact that I would like to mention that this is the hooded one. This is the common one. So basically there is the other Target exclusive. There is the other Target exclusive, which I will leave an annotation either here at the end of the video for you to see the comparison video. Starting off with Kylo Ren, the hooded one, number 60. I would like to mention that this is a hard sculpt to paint. So if you look around, you can see that like he has like some blemishes like here and here. So you just want to be on the lookout for that when buying him. You want to make sure that this, you know, the silver is all done right. Mine's kind of has these issues, but it's also on the side that's harder to see on the box. But you know what? It's not that much of a big deal for for me to complain about. I'm just glad that I did get a decent one. I have seen some with like the run-on globs of black paint or some certain parts that wasn't painted well, but we have to remember that these are hand painted. Also, some of the silver goes on the hood as well, so keep an eye out for that. Now, to talk about what I do like about the sculpt, I do love the fact that they got these like ridges right, and I feel like I'm definitely looking at the character himself when looking at like the Funko. They very well captured what I saw in the trailer. I do like the hooded, knitted look of this. I definitely think that they did a good job with like the wrinkles and the carving. It definitely looks like it's sitting on his head. It's very Sith-like, which I know he's not a Sith, but just to see him, with the hood and the lightsaber, it's very Sith to me. Also, I like the fact that they added these little dings and dents into the mask itself. I don't know if this is actually in the film. The trailer shows him for just such a brief second that you can't really tell. But I do like that they kept the rundown, kind of used and abused character designs from the previous film. I know that George Lucas had expressed the original trilogy was supposed to be more of like a dirtier future than what it was in the new prequels. So I'm glad to see that they went on with that tradition and carried it on with the line. Alright, moving down to his torso, you can see that the stitching and all that kind of carries down to the rest of the body. I know he's a very dark Funko to see, but you can kind of see it like right there. All the stitching kind of comes down, and I like this kind of like scarf thing going on here, how it wraps around his neck. It just makes it look like fabric, which is really impressive. I like that they broke up the paint too, because even this kind of matted sculpt on the arms that look kind of like accordion like material, that's different from like his black gloves, which is like a shinier, more plasticky looking kind of thing. But even then, it feels more like leather than the rest of it. So he kind of has like the Sith garb, or not even the Sith garb, but it just seems like Jedi robing. And we even have like the black gloves on the other side. So I like that they broke up the paint, and it doesn't feel like it's just one tone and that's it, one and done. Even the belt is a different color, and if you look, you can see the little stitching on, you can see the little sculpt on the belt, so that's pretty cool. I like that they broke it up and the fabric comes all the way down to here. I also like that they got the details well on the saber. It seems very reminiscent of Anakin's lightsaber, but I know that this is supposed to be a little bit more makeshift from the rumors that we have about the film. One thing that I find pretty interesting is his lightsaber itself, the sculpting that's on it. If you look very carefully, you can see that there's ridges all along the saber, even on both sides. I don't know if that's supposed to be intended to be more powerful, but it is definitely way longer than that of any other saber. Just to do a comparison, you can see him next to Darth Vader. You can see that the saber is much longer, and not only longer, but it's definitely more detailed in the ridges, whereas with Darth, you can kind of see that it just has like a straight line and it's done. So I like that they decided to differentiate the saber. Moving on to the back, you can see that there's more of that material. You can see that it's shredded all and around. You can still kind of see the belt going through. I do like this little curve. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. It's like a little curve that drapes in the bottom as if, when he's walking around and stuff like that. So that's cool. So here we have a size comparison. I decided to go with Star Wars Funkos in order to keep in line with the whole theme, as well as how he's going to look next to other Funkos on your shelf. So we have R2-D2, which is the shortest one that I own in the line, and then we have our tallest, which is Chewbacca. One thing that I found immediately interesting is that Chewbacca is actually much taller than other Funkos. So the fact that Kylo Ren is almost like the same height as him, especially with the hood, I thought that was very interesting. And even hoodless, you can see that their height kind of lines up. And I thought, well, maybe it's just because he's a Funko, or because this is the new line, they're trying to go for taller Funkos. But even when I compare him to that of like the height of Darth Vader, you can see that he's tall. So I'm assuming, I know that the actor that plays him is a tall guy. So I don't know if he's actually going to be towering over like that of the actor that played Darth Vader. But it does make me wish that they made a Darth Vader that was in this kind of height line. He's definitely very tall. So just keep that in mind when buying him and when you're going to have him on the shelf. So overall, I definitely like this Funko. I think that they did a brilliant job with capturing the character from what I've seen in promotion art and stills and concept art, as well as the trailer. I think that they adapted him very well. I do enjoy this Funko. I do definitely say that if you're a Star Wars fan and you're looking forward to Force Awakens, this might be a guy you want to add to your collection. But the thing is that I am a little bit hesitant to recommend him based on the fact that I don't know too much about his character. So I don't want to go and say, hey, run out and get him, and then come to find out you don't know too much about his character, or you don't like him. But if you do like the way he looks and you want to be a completist, or you just have to have everything Star Wars, then by all means go and get him. Because to be honest with you, he looks so cool that I ended up running out and going to get him. So also be on the lookout for the comparison video between this guy as well as the Target exclusive. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, in the comments, mention which other Star Wars Funko do you want me to review. Don't be limited to just the Force Awakens line. I would definitely try to do reviews for the other Funkos as well. And which Star Wars character do you want to see put into a Funko? Alright guys, keep collecting, and let the Force be with you.